Okay, cool. Hey, you have a wonderful combination of singer, songwriter, helping people navigate ADHD. There's so many things that go into what you're doing. But I want to begin with this new year by asking you this. One of the biggest things that we went through in our lifetime was getting through this pandemic, and it caused all kinds of ripples in all kinds of ways for all of us going forward.
Yeah.
How many ripples did it create for you that you still feel to this day? And how are you getting through all that?
Wow, getting straight in there.
Right in there.
Yeah, no, it's a really good question. And yeah, I think it's affected, everybody. I don't think anybody left unscathed, but I suppose as an artist, just before COVID, I was sort of doing projects with about 7 different Emmy and Grammy winning composers on different projects. And music was going really well. I had investors in my company, everything, and COVID ruined it all, so it was sort of like everything I'd kind of worked for or worked towards my whole life, not everything but a lot, was coming to this kind of a nice funnel point where everything was going to be great, and then everything just had to. So but I think there's always reasons for everything as well, even when it's not nice reasons. You can kind of look back and go, okay, I can see how that maybe had a ripple effect that helped me to start this business as well. So the other business with my ADHD coaching and stuff like that. So, and in turn, I've helped a lot of people with that. And, I'm now focusing on, some of the similar projects I was working on before, but also they look very different. And actually, I much prefer how they look now. I know that's kind of cryptic, but, in a nutshell, that's
I get it. And I think that for me, I really ramped up a lot of interviews with musicians during that time. And it was just heartbreaking to hear all of these schedules that just melted away in days. And probably one of the weirdest moments was probably in like June or July. People were like, I still have reminders popping up on my phone saying this was going to happen. And it's just another reminder. But it is so nice to see that everything's picked up. And I think a part of that time period is there's so much material that's still coming out that was emblematic of living through that time,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So, so, so let me ask you this.
Sure.
With everything that you do, if I put you in front of a bunch of third grade students at career day, and one of the kids in the back of the room is curious as to what you do every day for a living, how would you answer them?
Okay, third grade. What age is third grade? I'm
About 10 or 11. Yeah.
Okay, so it's like you're 10. Okay, so I sing songs and I write songs that I sing, and I also sing songs that other people write or that I write with them. And then I do big concerts in places like China and for video games and stuff. Like, I don't know, would you have heard them, 10-year-olds, but World of Warcraft? I'm the singer in that video game, but might be too old for you. And then also I help people who have different brains understand how to sort of operate or do their life from a sort of different way than maybe we've been taught in school or by our parents. And so, I help lots of very amazing brains help them with their life and their jobs and their careers as well. I think that would be what I'd say.
Yeah, they would totally get that. So take me back to the beginnings here of how did these seeds of becoming an artist happen, and how did being an advocate for people that have ADHD, how did all of these kind of get planted into you and evolve into your career right now?
So I've been writing songs since I'm about, as far as I can remember, about 7 years old. I still remember the song I wrote, but so I've been writing. My dad's an amazing singer, so I was always sort of following in his footsteps. So I started just writing, singing wherever I could as a kid. And then I started gigging when I was in college, when I was about 17. I had my daughter when I was 15. So she's nearly 22 now. And she's nearly finished university in the arts. So I started gigging when I was about 17. Then that took me kind of around Europe. And that was my whole life, a broke artist. And then I released my first EP in 2016 or 2017. That went to #1 in Ireland. It was called Revolution. So then, coincidentally, the very next day, I bumped into the composer of World of Warcraft video game in the American ambassador's residence in Dublin, in Ireland. And I had my CD in my pocket because it went to #1 just the day before, handed it to him. He listened to it and he rang me the next day and said, hey, I've never heard a voice like yours. Would you like to, you know, come to Los Angeles and would you like to be the next voice of World of Warcraft, a video game? And I was like, what's that? 100 million player video game I'd never heard of. So that was funny. But so then that kind of opened up my world then, you know. And so then I started, you know, singing with Video Games Live, Tommy Tallarico's Video Games Live concert all around China. Did a couple of years tours there. Still co-writing and doing a lot of collaborations with different people on my own music. But obviously the video game thing kind of threw me into a whole different side of the industry, which is fascinating. And so, yeah, lots of amazing stuff happened for a few years, lots of travel and tours and interviews and writing and meeting amazing people. And then I got diagnosed, a family member got diagnosed with ADHD just before COVID, which I was shocked at, going, what? They're really intelligent. I don't understand that. And then I realized when I looked up what ADHD was, oh my God, this explains my entire life's experience. And so then I got diagnosed, and then I got an ADHD coach to help me. And then that just changed my life. So then it was sort of coming up to COVID, and I kind of thought, well, I could either stay with this ADHD coaching or train to be an ADHD coach myself, because this is fascinating. And then when I did, I trained for a year during the very beginning of COVID, I think it was, or maybe just before, and it just changed my life. And yeah, so I've just been helping other people since, sort of, and it's been nice actually, Joe, because it means that like I can now sort of not look for new investors. And I think I was getting sick of kind of looking for investors or writing with people for record labels and publishers that wanted me to write in a certain way, or producers that wanted me to write in a certain way. And that really didn't sit well with me, because it always turned out that what my gut was of what I wanted to write was actually what people wanted to hear. And how I knew that actually the first time was when Russell Brower, the composer of World of Warcraft, he listened to my music and he presented it to the music department, the audio department in Blizzard Entertainment in Orange County in California. And apparently they were all like, yeah, we hear the voice. Yeah, but I'm not sure. And they were listening to the first 3 songs. And the last song, which was a song that a producer I was working with at the time didn't like and didn't want to really work on. So we just had piano and cello and violin, which I was delighted with, on it, and just my voice. And he's, you know, Russell said when the audio department heard that song, because it's quite emotional and just, you know, not fully produced and stuff, you know, just nice acoustic kind of version, they all said, oh, okay, yeah, we got to get her. So it was interesting when I was like, okay, that was a good lesson that, you know, actually, you know, what if I'm writing from my heart and it's authentic, then it can't really be wrong. It has to be right for some people, right? So
Yeah.
so that's sort of, yeah. And then sometimes the kind of 2 careers kind of mesh together, where like I've got a couple of clients who are songwriters or producers, and they're kind of really interested in working with me, that because they know I've lived their journey sort of and had some successes with it, with ADHD, and navigated that. And so that's sort of a synopsis, I suppose. That
Yeah,
answers.
that was a great synopsis. So, you know, the thing that's fascinating about this modern era of being a musician is the reach that you're going to have through a video game is going to
Yeah.
be absolutely like magnified in a way that's different. Do you ever
Mhm.
think about that angle on how lucky it was that you ran into this opportunity to get such a global reach through that medium?
Yeah, definitely. I still feel like I haven't really tapped into it like I should have really. Like I always think, God, you know, there's loads of singers singing the song that Russell wrote for my voice for the video game. Canticle of Sacrifice is the name of the song. And you know, there's a lot of singers on YouTube singing it and covering it. And I'm like, I'm the actual singer. I really should be doing some cover. So I really, you know, I really should have sort of taken advantage of that. But look, it gave me so many opportunities. I'm so grateful, because there was a documentary made on me around the time, around the whole journey of what I'm talking about, on an Irish network, RTE, and the documentary is called Nationwide. It's on my website, but it was interesting because, you know, it just, the whole world of video games was opened up to me, and I hadn't a clue about it. And oh, I'm going off on a tangent now. What was I about to say? I was going to say there's an ADHD brain now.
Oh,
What did you ask me again, Joe?
I, about the reach that you've had being in a
Yeah,
video
yeah,
game in that modern, you know, realm of getting
yeah.
exposure.
Yeah. Well, I remember Russell said in the Nationwide documentary, he was like, you know, one of the last things he said, and it was, you know, Nella's going to have you know, millions and millions and millions and millions of fans, you know, video games fans that she never would have expected, you know. So, you know, what's interesting actually comes full circle is that Russell's now just co-produced my next single, which that's something I haven't said out loud yet. So there's an exclusive and that's coming out pretty soon in the next few months. So that's exciting that we're kind of working together on different things. But and I suppose that will probably draw from the audience you're talking about. But
Sure.
I'm not sure I've really used that audience yet. But I think again, everything at the right time, and if it's supposed to happen, it'll happen, kind of thing. And yeah, and the other thing is, I think, I've just been kind of creating courses with the ADHD coaching and stuff as well, so that I'm not exchanging sort of my time all the time, so I can get my brain back into music, because it's a different part of your brain when you're working on business and helping other people, which is great, and I'm still doing it. But I have sort of been spending the last year or 3 years really hiding away in my little cottage here in a little fishing village in Kinsale in Cork in Ireland. Just kind of trying to kind of create a model where I don't ever need to sign with a record label. If I want to, but I don't have to, and I don't have to get another investor, and I don't have to, because that, again, just for me, really depletes the kind of creative process when your brain is in that side of things too much. So I've sort of launched a few kind of courses now and stuff where I can still help lots of people, but that will help to fund me to do the music as well. So it's sort of it's a big dream, but when I have that's an ADHD thing too. When I have something in my mind, I kind of tend to really go after it. So yeah. But yeah, I'm not sure if I answered your question.
You did. You totally
Okay.
did. So let me ask you this. What was the first live show that you saw that captivated you, that made you think, I want to be up there, I want to do that with my life?
I have a probably unexpected answer for you. I don't really listen to music. I don't go to shows. I went to the Spice Girls when I was 8 years old, and I ran out of there immediately. So I'm not autistic, but I have something that can come with ADHD. It's called misophonia, where sounds can be incredibly overwhelming.
Yeah.
So I actually find music, unless I'm familiar with it, this is sort of an autistic trait, but it's obviously an ADHD trait too, because I'm not on the spectrum, but I definitely have this as well. I listened to about 3 different albums, and that's sort of it for the last 10, 15 years. I'll go to small gigs or people that I know that are playing, or a kind of a small show, but I don't think I've ever enjoyed sort of live music that much, if I'm honest. For me, it's more about the sort of exchange of energy on stage, and I always say that, like, singing on stage is like a drug to me, but little did I know it's dopamine, right? That's the kind of hit I was getting that I never realized. And so for me, it's more performing and that kind of exchange of energy between the audience and myself, rather than I can't focus on the music if I'm in the audience, if that makes sense. I'm just too distracted, and I get frustrated if somebody's making a sound, or if I can't see everything or hear it, then I'm like, I might as well be in my room listening to the CD so I can close my eyes and imagine it, rather than not being able to see half of this, or so the too many things just me, if that makes sense.
It
So
totally.
I shouldn't. I mean, like, I have been to. I mean, I went the Hollywood Bowl last year. I brought my daughter to see John Williams, and that was amazing. And that was a real honor. And that was spectacular. But it was nice because it was outdoors and lots of space, and you could see everything on massive screens. And then there's New York. So for me, that was really amazing. But every concert isn't going to be like that. But I think something that's sort of immersive, and that's kind of what I'm creating with my own live show as well. Just something that's really brings you to a different world,
Yeah. Well, the one thing that's very personal about your story is that my son, he's 20, Miles, he's on the spectrum. So I understand that sensitivity to sound, because there's certain things where I think he's going to be okay, but it might be too much. So you got to be there's a lot of sensory that goes into it. So I totally get that,
Yeah, exactly. And, the thing is, for me, I'm so sensitive to different sounds, to all that, but, and to, just being sensitive in general, which is a big ADHD trait, or oversensitive people would say, or people have said in the past, and we've all heard it with ADHD or being autistic or on the spectrum as well. But, I do think that there's so many strengths to that, because I really don't think I could write the songs that I write if I wasn't able to tap into that sensitivity, or that place of feeling things very viscerally. And, maybe you could call it pain or whatever, but, in turn, then when I perform, you can see people are crying in the audience, and you're helping them process their stuff, and how is that a bad thing, right? So it's sort of got, it's paradoxical, really. You've got this, but you also, and I'm sure with your son, you can, see that there are great benefits of, different symptoms or different traits that he has. On the other side of the negative, there's a positive in a different way, Anyway, that's definitely what I believe anyway.
So there was a TV show. He didn't watch very many shows. He's more into sports, I
Okay.
think it's that real action part of it. And anyway, there was one show that he watched, and it was called Yo Gabba Gabba. And it was these characters that were kind of loud, but it came from this indie music writer. So the music was phenomenal and they had great guests. Well, they went on the road. It got so popular. They went on the road and they started doing shows. And I took him to
Okay.
that when he was like, I don't know, he was really young, probably like 8, 9 years old. And I remember a lot of their crowd was autism spectrum kids. And half of them, when we left, he couldn't take it. They were all with with
Okay.
earmuffs out
Yeah.
in the hallway because they couldn't take it. It was the biggest irony of anything that I'd ever seen in my life. That was the
Right.
crowd, but they couldn't do it live. But these guys were over the top. I mean, there was bubbles flying everywhere, lights
Ooh,
going everywhere. It was intense. So,
yeah, I get
but
that. Yeah, even my first junior disco, when you go to disco when you're a kid, I ran out of there as well. The music and the lights. Same with the Spice Girls concert. Now I wouldn't be like that now, but I still wouldn't really enjoy it when there's just too much sensory stuff. It's just my brain just shuts down. I'm like,
yeah.
nope,
Uh-huh.
get me out of here. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So who's been this hero for you in your life between being an artist and being an advocate? Who's been that bedrock for you?
Oof. Gosh, I don't know. There's a lot of people who have been amazing mentors, I suppose, for me. I think in music, if we're talking about music, I think, and I hope I'm not leaving anyone out, but I think Russell Brower really, like, he changed my life. He really did. Um, he's a three-time Emmy winning composer. He's now one of my best friends, which is, amazing. Um, and he's also very public that he's on the spectrum of ADHD as well. It's probably why we get on so well. Sometimes he'll say he'll only go do a tour if I'll come because he knows that if he gets overwhelmed that I'm there and I get it. And same with me. But I think how he approaches music from the heart and sort of it's very it's just so inspiring, and the fact that he just kind of gave me that opportunity that just changed the entire trajectory of my life. Even like when if I have a even any, like, I've never advertised, even my ADHD coaching, but when people see I've done word of workout, I think it instills a bit of trust. They're like, oh, somebody else has trusted her to do that big thing. She must be a trustable person. And that's helped to, keep me afloat and alive, right?
Yeah.
Finance myself, even just from that point of view, it's just helped me. And even on my confidence really as an artist, um, anytime I've ever had doubts about anything, I'm like, well, okay, if he believed in me and, or even like, I work with a lot of Emmy and Grammy winning composers, as I said, and the only reason I work with them is because I emailed them and said, please work with me, let's work together.
Yeah.
And that's another long but a funny story. But anyway, and but the only reason they probably opened the email and listened to my voice was because I said I'm the singer in Word of Warcraft. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's opened doors to so many amazing things for me. So I think he probably in many ways would probably have to win that spot. I think, I mean, there's my family, there's lots of people, but in music, he's been an incredible mentor. Anytime I've anything, to do with music, any advice, anything, I would go to him and he'll be there to give me amazing guidance because of his experience in the industry. So yeah, I would say him. Yeah, Russell Brower.
So
He's
of
amazing.
all of these things that you've done and accomplished and evolved into in your life, what are you the proudest of?
Jeez. Um, I think I'm very proud. I know it's very cliche, but I'm very proud of my daughter. She's an incredible photographer, going to be a movie director. She's, nearly finished university, and she has ADHD as well. She's incredibly talented and she's just, really, really, really individual, strong-minded, amazing, kind-hearted, beautiful soul, really. We're very similar and very different, and that's really inspiring for me as well, so I definitely think my daughter, my mom's been a huge inspiration as well. And sorry, what was your question? I feel like I'm going off on a
What
tangent.
what you're proudest of, which you yeah.
Yeah, I suppose. And then in music, I suppose, God, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that.
What?
I think something I'm really proud of is probably the last song that I just recorded. That's going to be my next single. It's yeah, I think that's probably, and it's always like your last song you wrote or whatever. But I think that's something I wrote about something very, very personal and it's the most me, and it's got all the ingredients of everything I've ever wanted to hear in my music. And I, picked the right people to work on it, and it sounds just exactly how I want, all of my music to sound. So I think that's something I'm really excited about and proud that I kind of, for the first time, said, this is what I want. And I was sort of leading the project because I was confident enough, maybe a little late in life, but confident enough to say, no, this is the way I want to do it, rather than listening to a lot of different producers in my life that, had said it should be this way. And to be honest, I think I should have kind of followed my gut a lot more, So yeah. So I think probably my next song is coming out. Yeah. For those reasons.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Everyone has a perception of you. Family, friends, fans, everyone that you work with on the ADHD side, but you ultimately run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Oh my God. You don't ask easy questions, do you? Wow. It's like that question. What is love?
Right.
Um, I think I am, I mean, how do you even answer that? I think I am somebody who is a mother and is an artist and is very I don't know. I think we're all unique, but I think I have a unique way of going about things. I didn't think I did, but apparently. And yeah, I think I am someone who is probably too sensitive for my own good, but it serves me in other ways. And I'm somebody that's still learning this big puzzle of life, and just like the rest of us, muddling through and trying to be as happy as possible, and as free as possible, and sort of being able to be free to write the music I want to write, because my goal has always been to write music and songs that will stand the test of time, that can, just sort of keep living and breathing and be reinvented by other people and help other people. And I think that's all we ever want in the world, to leave a mark in some way, so if I can sort of leave that mark of a body of work of music, my job, and obviously my I've got my daughter, so she's already cooked, so she's she'll leave her mark too. But yeah, I think we all just want to make some sort of a difference before we move on to wherever the next paradise is. So yeah, if I can kind of leave music that I'm proud of, and it came from my heart authentically, then again, I don't think I could do that wrong. And if that helps 1 or 1 million or 2 people, and I think that's all we can all hope for. So that's sort of what feel like my life's mission is, I suppose. Yeah. So maybe that answers you a little bit. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you totally answered it. So if anyone wants to get involved with your music, they want to hire you on the ADHD side, any of the good news in your world, where do they go?
Yeah. So you can find me on so my music, iamnella.com, or Nella, I am Nella is on Instagram, and then ADHD stuff, ADH Diversity on Instagram, or just Google Nella ADHD Coach or Nella Music Where to Work. You'll find all the stuff. There's probably one like I should just give you and I can't even think, but yeah, all of those. But I can send you the links if you want to put it in the thing.
Yeah.
Maybe they can do that. Yeah.
I will put it all in the show notes. Nella, what a wonderful story. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your story, and have a great 2025. I appreciate it.
You too. Thanks so much, Joe. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.
All right.